My name is Mario Juarez. I had many titles at Microsoft, some of them not worthy of publication. My last official title was Executive Communications Manager, working for the Chief Information Officer of the company in Microsoft IT. And I worked in Microsoft from 1990 until 2018, is that right? That's a long time. Yeah, so there you go. At the very beginning, working at Microsoft was like finding yourself in having joined an amazing club that you couldn't have imagined, that just kept growing and turning into this larger and larger experience, you know, and it was, in the early days there was a sense that you were a part of something that was gonna take over the world, that was really changing the world, and that was pretty awesome. The culture at Microsoft in the early days, I think, was just hardcore fun. And it was the hardcore. I mean, there was a great seriousness to it. You know, when I arrived, I was 30 years old, and I was the oldest person around. It was a group of astonishingly capable, ambitious, young, super smart engineers and others who were just absolutely fearless about what they were going to do and had this pure confidence that they were going to make things happen, and things happened. And that was, you know, it was pretty intoxicating, actually, because it was so, I don't know. I just had never been around people like the people that I met when I arrived here. I came to Microsoft in the side door, and I was not recruited, and I was not asked to be here. I came in because I came in as a technical writer, which was ironic because I was a journalist, and had really just arrived as a contractor for 6 weeks. So I had no real ambitions to being a Microsoft person or staying for a long time. But when I got here, it was, you know, it was like just stepping into this whirlwind that was just too awesome. And after I was here for a couple of years, I decided, you know, as a journalist, I had worked as a journalist in a small town in Alaska. And when I came here, I saw this as a community. And so I wanted to start a newspaper. I wanted to do the community newspaper. And at that time, there was a small photocopied thing that would drop in people's mailboxes on Friday called the MicroNews. And I had this idea of turning the MicroNews into an actual newspaper, you know, complete with real stories and original work and stories about the culture, classified ads, and all this stuff. And those were the days when you could just have an idea and find somebody and say, I want to do this, and they go, okay. And so they said, okay, and they let me do this. And so I had the, you know, amazing experience of being able to document week to week over years, you know, kind of what was unfolding in the company. We didn't recognize how historical it was. Nobody foresaw what was going to happen. I probably Bill did. Bill and Steve and a select few others. And the rest of us just came in and worked our butts off and just sort of marveled at the wonder of it all. The Windows 95 launch was sort of the pinnacle of everything, and we had, as a MicroNews, we had sort of an unprecedented access and opportunity. So for me personally, you know, I was able to go backstage on everything, and at that time I was, you know, it was just a different company, and I was, you know, I was able to do all these cool things like interview Bill and interview Jay Leno and interview all these people. I don't know, that was like a dream that was just had come true for everybody that had worked so hard in those preceding years. Really, the big wave came on Windows 3.0, and that was when it was very clear that we were no longer a company that was, you know, that had a future that was tied to IBM, and that it was very clear that we were a Windows company, which at that time was not set at all, and that it really worked. I think most of us have a memory of the experience of the first time we sat down and actually played with Windows 3.0, and you could immediately recognize all that was going to change by virtue of what you were seeing and how it operated. It was absolutely, I always remember that moment when I first used Windows 3.0, and it was like you could just see the future, and then you could just see the scale of what was about to come. But even then, nobody really could imagine what it meant. So Windows 95 was really the promise, the payoff of what had been done. But I always felt it was somewhere around 1991 when Windows 3.0 really set, and that made us the company that we became. Everybody just felt incredibly lucky. I mean, just was like unbelievably lucky that you would find yourself in this place with these people. You know, I mean, there was the factor of money and people prospering and people sort of benefiting financially from what had happened. But I don't think that's ever really what the company was about. I mean, the company was about having a vision and trying something really, really hard and struggling and fighting and growing and learning. And you know, what's incredible is that it continues. You know, what's incredible is that there's new leadership in now that has found a way to recapture that core kind of latent desire to do great things in a certain way. And so it's kind of amazing to see it, you know, continuing and happening again. It's kind of amazing to think what's going to be sitting here, you know, in 5 years or 10 or 15 years, you know, or God forbid another 30. I think if I could say anything, it would just be to have, you know, an expression of gratitude and really to thank the people that started it all. You know, I mean, thank Bill and Steve and you know, as I get older, I recognize, you know, how astonishing the achievement was, and it's great. You know, Microsoft products change the world and help people and all the stuff around the mission, but you know, it also enabled a lot of really great lives here, and you know, I have deep gratitude that I got to benefit from that.